Imagine being just meters away from someone your security team has flagged as a serious threat, and nothing happens. That's reportedly what happened to Prince Harry during a recent court appearance in the UK. A woman allegedly on his private intelligence company's list of fixated individuals sat in the courtroom gallery, quietly observing him while he gave testimony. Over the course of 2 days, not a single member of his security detail or court staff intervened. She remained seated, calm, and visible throughout his testimony. This is the same Prince Harry who has repeatedly emphasized the dangers he faces in the UK and the necessity of high-level security. He has fought for protection funded by the government, argued in court, and publicly highlighted the risks posed by fixated individuals. Yet, when confronted with an individual reportedly classified as dangerous, his team seemingly allowed the situation to unfold. Sources close to the royal suggest that court staff were alerted but did not act. Insiders describe the incident as not ideal, but critics argue that this description drastically understates the seriousness. In a courtroom setting, especially one housing high-profile testimony, there are multiple avenues to ensure safety. Harry could have requested immediate removal of the individual. Judges and court officers have authority to act when witnesses feel intimidated. Police support and witness care units exist precisely for such scenarios. So why didn't Harry take advantage of these tools? Observers are questioning whether the presence of the woman was coincidental or if it served a larger purpose. Allowing her to remain may have reinforced a narrative of vulnerability, providing a public example of why Harry argues for ongoing security. The optics of the situation, distance from a dangerous individual yet no intervention, paint a picture that aligns neatly with claims that the UK cannot adequately protect him without taxpayer support. Interestingly, the woman in question is reportedly tied to the Sussex supporter network. This online fanbase has long been vocal and fiercely protective of Harry and Meghan Markle. While members of this group have shown extreme loyalty, some behaviors have bordered on obsessive. The presence of a supporter in the courtroom introduces questions about the security narrative and whether certain incidents are being allowed to happen to reinforce media storylines. Multiple observers note that the situation raises concerns about the Sussex team's judgment. If this person posed a genuine threat, why had she been permitted near Harry previously? Her self-reported history as a trusted supporter conflicts with her listing as a fixated individual. The contrast suggests that the scenario may have been exaggerated or at least strategically unaddressed. For context, British courts have well-defined procedures to protect witnesses. Individuals who are seen as intimidating can be removed, and witnesses can request special measures to ensure safety. Police can intervene immediately, and court staff can coordinate the removal of anyone considering threatening. The lack of action, therefore, is highly unusual. Legal experts reviewing the incident suggest that it was possible to prevent any risk to Harry, making the decision to allow her presence all the more striking. Observers also point out a pattern in Harry and Meghan's public communications regarding security. There is often a focus on perceived threats, followed by media coverage highlighting these risks. Critics suggest that the Sussexes may be leveraging such incidents to maintain a narrative of danger, thereby justifying requests for additional protection. Whether intentional or not, this approach amplifies attention and provides material for public discussions about security and the couple's safety concerns. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle's behavior has reportedly contributed to tension behind the scenes. Reports suggest she has struggled with being excluded from certain planning processes, particularly around high-profile events like the Invictus Games. Sources describe situations where she expressed frustration or strong emotional reactions when her expectations were not met. These dynamics highlight a complex interplay between security concerns, public perception, and internal family and professional relationships. Harry's approach to threats, combined with Meghan's focus on attention and influence, appears to create a cycle in which drama is amplified and attention is directed toward personal narratives. The courtroom incident serves as a microcosm of this broader pattern, a situation with genuine security implications that is intertwined with narrative control and strategic messaging. Adding another layer, insiders suggest that members of the Sussex squad, including those active online, are tightly integrated into the couple's communication and social strategies. The same networks that amplify positive stories about Harry and Meghan also engage in intense defense of their reputation and narratives. This raises questions about how much of the threat perception is based on actual risk versus media strategy. Legal observers emphasize that the mechanisms to prevent intimidation are not just procedural, they are actively used in many cases across the UK. Witnesses regularly request protection or the removal of individuals who pose a risk. That Harry did not invoke these protections, despite being aware of the woman's presence, is an anomaly. It highlights the tension between personal safety measures and public messaging about perceived threats. The pattern extends beyond a single courtroom. Critics note that there have been multiple publicized security incidents or alleged threats since the Sussexes stepped back from royal duties. Each time, the narrative emphasizes danger, vulnerability, and the necessity for heightened protection. Observers argue that this may serve to reinforce their profile, maintain media attention, and justify requests for resources or accommodations.
In short, the courtroom encounter, whether intentional or coincidental, fits a recognizable pattern, a situation framed as a security threat that produces media attention and reinforces ongoing narratives about risk, protection, and vulnerability. While there is a genuine discussion to be had about fixated individuals and safety, the way the incident was handled raises questions about strategy, optics, and the management of perception. This section underscores the complexity of Harry's security story. It is not merely a matter of presence or absence of threats, but of how incidents are framed, addressed, and leveraged to shape public understanding. The woman's presence, her ties to the supporter network, and the lack of intervention all serve as critical points in understanding how perception, narrative, and safety intersect in the Sussex's public life.
While Harry navigates courtroom challenges and security narratives, Meghan Markle's reported behavior adds a different kind of pressure. Insiders suggest that she has been frustrated by being excluded from event planning, such as the upcoming Invictus Games, which Harry founded and leads. Sources describe emotional reactions, including tears and accusations that she is being sidelined, reflecting a perception of being denied influence or visibility. Security concerns reportedly extend to Meghan's personal requests. She is said to have asked for extraordinary measures, including private hotel floors, armed security guards on continuous duty, and strict protocols for staff interactions. Reports indicate she also requests to be addressed with the royal honorific she technically no longer holds. These demands highlight a tension between public roles, personal expectations, and perceived status. The contrast between Meghan's requirements and the routine functioning of other royals has not gone unnoticed. Public and media comparisons with figures like Catherine, Princess of Wales, show a stark difference. Catherine's appearances, engaging directly with people, handling events in the rain, showing authenticity, stand in sharp contrast to Meghan's carefully controlled environment. Observers note that Meghan's approach emphasizes appearance and control rather than direct service or public engagement. Meanwhile, Harry's security narrative continues to evolve in the media. The courtroom incident has become a focal point, with the proximity of a reported threat feeding into ongoing discussions about the necessity of protection. Critics argue that while threats exist, the management and framing of such incidents amplify drama and maintain public attention. Legal options to address immediate risks are available, yet reports suggest they were not utilized, reinforcing the perception of strategic narrative management. Complicating matters further, high-profile media figures have challenged the Sussex's version of events. For example, Kim Kardashian reportedly disputed claims that Harry and Meghan objected to the release of certain private photos, revealing inconsistencies between public statements and actual consent. Incidents like these highlight ongoing credibility challenges, raising questions about the accuracy of information the couple shares and the ways in which narratives are curated. From the palace perspective, Prince William has reportedly taken a more proactive stance in response to Sussex activities. Observers note the hiring of experienced PR and crisis management experts to address narratives and media campaigns. Sources suggest this is part of a calculated effort to protect the monarchy's reputation, manage public perception, and counteract potentially damaging stories. This strategic approach contrasts with King Charles' reportedly more conciliatory stance. Charles is said to hope for reconciliation and favors quieter diplomacy, while William appears focused on proactive measures to mitigate risk and maintain the institution's credibility. The differences in approach highlight the complexity of palace responses to high-profile family disputes. Observers note that the Sussex narrative cycle is self-reinforcing. Incidents that generate headlines, whether courtroom encounters, security claims, or publicized disputes, feed media coverage and maintain the couple's visibility. At the same time, these events place pressure on palace staff, family members, and supporters to respond. Analysts suggest that the combination of real threats, perceived slights, and public messaging creates a challenging environment for everyone involved. Meanwhile, Meghan's interactions with media and celebrities have continued to shape perceptions. Reports of selective disclosures, emotional reactions, and disputes on her representation reinforce a broader image of control, image management, and attention-seeking. Observers note that these patterns, combined with Harry's security focus, contribute to a highly curated public persona that is sometimes at odds with transparency and consistency. The courtroom scenario, the Sussex squad dynamics, and Meghan's reported demands converge into a broader picture, a couple navigating celebrity, royalty, and media attention while managing personal expectations, public perception, and strategic storytelling. Incidents that could be managed quietly become high-profile events, raising questions about intentionality, optics, and the interplay between real threats and narrative creation. In summary, the Sussex situation illustrates a complex intersection of security, media strategy, and personal dynamics. Harry's courtroom experience highlights potential manipulation of security narratives, while Meghan's reported behavior demonstrates tension between public expectation and personal control. The palace response, led by William and supported by professional PR experts, reflects an effort to safeguard institutional reputation in the face of ongoing scrutiny.
This section shows that beyond immediate security and personal disputes, the Sussex story is deeply entwined with media perception, narrative construction, and the management of public opinion. Each incident, whether real or amplified, contributes to a cycle that sustains attention, shapes credibility, and influences how the couple and the monarchy are viewed on both sides of the Atlantic.